This is the Raw breakdown for Inoue versus Stephen Fulton, which should be Stephen Fulton versus Inoue, because Stephen Fulton is the man at 122 pounds. But Inoue might be the man in boxing. Now, I think Stephen Fulton's highly, highly underrated. I said when he beat Daniel Roman that I think he might be in the conversation, or definitely in the conversation, might be the best fighter in the world. I meant it. Now, I think people looked at me sideways when I said it, but I meant it, because what I seen that he can do and how he controlled that fight and controlled a fighter like Roman, you had to be at a really high level to do it. Now, that fight was overlooked because that was the same night that Devin Haney beat Kambosos. But what Fulton had done versus Roman was, to me, 10 times more impressive. Now, in a way, where I think some people might feel that he's overrated because they're not really familiar with the people he's beat. They're not really familiar with the lower weight classes. And he's so far superior to them, right? These guys you're not familiar with, that how good could they actually be, right? If he's just levels above them, right? Not only, and people question how good he is, then how good could his opponents be? So I think it really takes an eye for boxing to really be able to respect how good both these guys really are. And not just in a way, but with Fulton. Because I think Fulton's one of the most spectacular talents we've had in boxing in a long time. And when I watched him fight Roman, right, I thought that was the best performance he's ever put on. And it was the most complete performance, right? It was the most disciplined performance. It was the performance that he didn't allow for any opportunities. He didn't allow for Roman to get started. He didn't allow for him to get his game going. And he had not done that yet in previous fights. He had always given the fighter he had always given his opponent some moments. Not in that fight. And it really reminded me of Floyd Mayweather versus Castillo. And there is that comparison that always happens for, talented black fighters that, he's the next Floyd, he's the next Floyd. I'm not saying he's the next Floyd, but that performance reminded me of Floyd versus Castillo, where Floyd was able to box. He was able to get his offense off, able to be defensive, able to move around the ring, able to attack. And everything was just so precise that it didn't allow Castillo to really do much, right? He had turned from what the first fight was to the second fight where he completely controlled it. That's what Stephen Fulton did in that performance. And he had his legs working, he had his fists working, he had the combinations working, his offense, everything was flowing together perfectly. Now, Inoue, who I think his most impressive work is at 118 pounds, who just runs through the competition. And guys that everyone he's going to leave are probably going to, and that he beat together, are probably going to win world titles back in that weight class. Now, maybe people aren't familiar with these weight classes. At one point, I wasn't too familiar with these weight classes, but as you look into it, and as you just see the talent Inoue has, you really can't say, oh, this guy's, overrated. It's not the case. This guy's very, very talented. He can do a lot of things. Could do basically everything he wants to do in the ring. He can chase you down. He can fight going backwards. He can fight in the middle of the ring. He has slick moments. He has destructive moments. He has counter punching. He can one punch power. He has elite speed. He has all the things that you want. So you can't say, oh, this guy has all these things and he's overrated. No, those things are what the top guys in the world throughout all the history of boxing, those are the pieces that they had to put together to be elite fighters. He has all those things. And has he faced anyone as good as Stephen Fulton? I don't think so. But that's not a mark against all the opponents he's faced before. That's just telling you how good Stephen Fulton is. So I think to really enjoy this fight and to really have the perspective and to get the understanding and the excitement for this fight, you really have to understand the level the two guys are getting in the ring. Because in my personal opinion, this is the highest level matchup we're going to have this year. And I'm saying that one of the best years of boxing of all time. This is the highest level of two talents we're going to see in the ring. And it could tell a number of different stories. Now, I think that I narrowed it down to the story that it's going to tell, but I could be dead wrong. Because of the talent here, and because of the skill level, and because these guys could really do anything in the ring, it could turn into something else that I'm not expecting. But the story that I think it's going to tell, and the raw breakdown that I came up with, right, and what I saw, and how I think it plays out, is a cat and mouse game. With Inoue taking the lead of chasing, and Fulton taking the lead of boxing around the ring. Now, why do I think it becomes that? Because I think that's Stephen Fulton's best chance of winning the fight. I think that if his team studied Inoue's fights, anyone studied Inoue's fights, he has not faced elite athleticism and coordination of a person that can move around the ring and fight going backwards. He hasn't faced that yet. And even a guy like Emmanuel Rodriguez, who I think is a pretty high level guy that could do some of those things, that's not the fight that he had with Inoue. He kind of played a game where they're kind of staring at each other, looking who can land shots, kind of a little chess match in front of each other. It wasn't a game where he like said, I'm gonna move around the ring, or wasn't something like that. And I don't really think Inoue's facing anyone that's at the highest level, especially at the level of Fulton. No, there was the Butler fight. I think a lot of people just kind of discarded that fight, but I didn't discard that one. I think that one's very important because the one thing Butler did show in that fight, right? And he did not go to create any offense, did not go to win that fight. He kind of just went in there to survive. And, those are kind of hard to take apart, but there are certain things that, you have to see. Now, there's no questions Inoue won that fight. There's no I don't think it's like we're in a fight like Boots and Karen, I thought Boots won clearly, but people showed like, oh, well, he kind of struggled to do certain things. I don't think, I think Inoue kind of did what he wanted in that fight. But the one thing I did see is that Inoue never closed off the exit to his right. That when Butler wanted to go to the right, he could. Inoue was never trapping him to the ring where he couldn't get him, where he didn't allow the exit to the right. So Stephen Fulton, who can move around the ring, but the one thing he can do that Butler can't is he can box going backwards. He's going to have effective offense going backwards. He's going to be able to match Inoue's speed. He's going to be able to match Inoue's timing. And to me, he's going to be able to match Inoue's high variety of punches. I think Fulton's going to be able to match. So he's going to move around the ring. Now, Inoue's going to have to follow him around the ring. And usually when Inoue follows guys around the ring, what he uses is his jab. So he gets in there and jabs his way in. And so that gets a guy falling back, right? So where he can't make a move. Then Inoue, as he goes in, he's very tight, right? Both these guys are very tight with their punches. It doesn't take wide motion to do something. So they're there, right? There. Everything is super tight. It's not wide motion. There's not a lot of tells when their offense gets going. So Inoue's gonna just push a jab. But the one thing Inoue does when he jabs, and because he's so gifted, more gifted than a lot of all the guys he fought, he punches his jab, his chin gets straight up. Especially when he comes forward. Right there. What Fulton can do, because Fulton has a very good right hand, is time that, right? And he has good speed. And if he can read when Inoue's gonna come in with that jab, he could go right over the top of it. And if you do that enough times, it will get Inoue to stop jabbing. Or it'll make him change the speed, or it won't make him jab as much at least. Now, another thing, there's not a lot of people challenging Inoue's jab, right? Inoue usually gets to control that. I think Stephen Fulton could very, very, very much challenge this jab. And if he challenges his jab, then when he gets stuck staring at each other, it eliminates the offense if Inoue wants to get started, right? Then he has to start throwing the left hook and the right hand by themselves, not hiding behind the jab. Might have to rush his offense. Might not be able to stop and stare, right? He's maybe not win that battle because the guy beats him to the spot. So they get to this point, and Inoue is doing what he wants, and he jabs back, and then boom, he runs the left hook off of it. But if you're staring, right, and Fulton's there, and he can time it, then he beats him, right? Then Inoue has to, boom. Suddenly, Fulton can exit either way, right? Exit stage left, exit stage right, or he could work off of that. And then right over the top. Now, the one thing Fulton's not going to want to do is get into exchanges. He's not going to want to get in exchanges. Because although I think he can match the speed, I think he can match the timing and all those things, the one thing he cannot match is the power. Fulton does not have great power. And if you play that game enough with Inoue, he will catch you, right? And Fulton, to me, a flaw in his game is when you will gets in tight with someone, he does have defensive flaws, right? I don't think that he has the tightest defense in a certain range, right? Now, far away, when he sees things coming, he can make, defensive thing. But when he gets to the inside, he kind of gets stuck and loses himself. He kind of loses his vision, right? He doesn't have the clearest vision on the inside. And if he does that anyway, I think Inoue will catch him and put him out cold. So he wants to be very selective with his shots. And he wants to be able to pick maybe 1-2 shots max, get out of there, hold, reset, and make Inoue have to come out again and be able to choose when he attacks you. Now, Inoue, who's very good left hook, right? Probably known for his left hook. he likes to throw it and he'll just sling it out there. He doesn't care. He just throw right hand, just sling it out there, right? He'll even double it if he wants to, right? Now, a guy like Fulton might be able to make him pay for that. He might not be able to do stuff like that. So there might be not have the free-ranging offense that Inoue's always had. So how do I see this fight playing out as far as who wins the fight? Now, like I said, I think Stephen Fulton's going to box well. I think he's going to do a lot of things early, and it's going to be a very competitive fight. But I think at the points where Stephen Fulton might be getting a little bit more repetitive, he might have to take more chances when we're coming down toward the second half of the fight coming later. He might have to open up more, right, to really seal the deal. And at that point, you're not just getting a guy that's chasing you, right? Inoue is just not going to chase you around the ring and then look to land and pressure you. He's not that kind of fighter. He's a fighter that can do a lot of great things. This is why he's so good, right? So when Stephen Fulton does have to do things to make sure that he is sealing these tight rounds, that's when Inoue is going to be his most dangerous. And you got to look at the punch variety that he has. Now, I said Stephen Fulton can match it, but he can't match the power, and that's the key to it, right? And when he's going to put pressure, right, and he's putting pressure on you, jabbing you in, but he's also very quick at taking a step back or 2 steps back. And when he can do that, it changes a lot of things in your game, right? If you watch the fight with Donaire when he hurts his eye, he boxes a lot of that fight, right? He boxes a lot of that fight. He fights moving backwards. He fights the way that I've kind of explained that Stephen Fulton's going to fight this fight. That's because he's a very talented fighter that can do everything in the ring. So when you have that and you can go forward, that's a very good aspect to have, because I can pull forward, but I'm really just provoking you to do something. I'm going forward, causing you to step in to attack me, right? So I'm putting this way. And Fulton, who has the, like I said, he showed control in the Roman fight, but the one thing is he had to leave the Roman fight the whole time. In this fight, it's going to be close. It's going to be competitive. So he's going to in his competitive spirit, and he's a guy that's not going in there just gets a decision. He's not the guy going in there just to for more victory. He's the guy going in there to win. And those mentalities is that you get different fights, you get different outcomes, and a lot of those outcomes come out to knockouts or stuff like that because you're willing to take more chances. And he will sit in the shots because he's going to try to win this fight. And when you have close rounds and he tries to sit, he has to sit in the shots or create more offense. That's when Inoue sets the perfect trap for him, because he's jabbing. Okay, he gets out jabbed, but he's coming forward. Then I'm 2 back, and then I'm catching you, right? Or you're walking into an uppercut. You're walking into a right hand. See, I'm creating all this. I'm pushing you back to lure you in, kind of like a wave current, right? A wave hits you, comes back, and then it hits you again. That's what he's doing. I'm bringing back, and now I'm going to catch you. And I think that those specific instances of being able to come forward and come back like that, and Stephen Fulton, like I said, having to come into that kind of power and come into those kind of shots and to force himself to get more aggressive, I think that's where Inoue is going to take the lead of this fight. Like I said, I think this is like a 7-5, 8-4 fight. But I think the reason why Inoue is going to take control of this fight is because he's going to be able to take more chances than Stephen Fulton is, because Stephen Fulton doesn't have one-punch power. Inoue does. So Stephen Fulton can take chances, but he can't get hit. He's got to be really worried what's coming back. I don't think Inoue has to be extremely worried with coming back. Like I said, it's not like this Stephen Fulton's hitting that has 0 power. No, but he doesn't have the one punch that you have to worry about. So I think that Inoue is going to be able to be aggressive, and when eventually Stephen Fulton's going to have to seal rounds, right, and have to step up to make sure that he's winning these close rounds, I think that's where Fulton, I think that's where he'll have to open up his offense, and that's where Inoue's going to really shine in this fight. Inoue's going to win because he can do everything in the ring, but Inoue's going to win also because he has elite power. And I think that Fulton, who's going to, I think, be very impressive in this fight, I don't think anyone's stock is going to really crumble that much. When you have 2 best guys fighting, one guy's going to lose, of course. But the lack of power, I think, will be a really key factor in the fight. It just allows Inoue to just be able to take more chances. It allows him to be more aggressive. It allows him to be able to sit and stuff more and feel confident in trading. And when you have a very close fight like that, you have to be able to outland the guy. And when both guys can do everything, you just got to look for one, huge advantage, and that power is just such a major advantage. Over 2 guys, I think they could really do everything in the ring. One guy just holds that one key advantage. I think it's going to make all the difference in the world. I'll take Inoue in that. Now that's the Ezreal curse. If you're an elite fighter, you beat that curse. So we're really going to see how elite Inoue is. But thank you guys for listening. This has been the Ezreal Breakdown.